So to get a byte, we go to our variables, and rather than have in a boolean, we drop this down to a byte, and this will be just our test byte. And we can get our bytes, and we can set our bytes, and we can assign them default values. But a few things to remember is a byte can only go from 0 to 255. So if I set this at 500, it'll save it back to its highest value of 255. A byte cannot be negative, so minus 100 is also becomes 0, and a byte cannot have decimals, so it will get rid of your decimals. We can do logical functions with bytes, so if we wanted to say have a default value of 240 on this byte, and then we'll add say 50, and then we'll set the byte to be our new value, and we'll print that new value. And what we'll find is that a byte will wrap around. So this should be 290. What will happen is that it will go to 34. We add our 50 to 240, and we should get 290, and then we minus away the 255, including the 0 at the start. So that's why instead of 35, as you would expect, it's 34, because the 0 is counted as a number, and therefore when we wrap around, it counts that 0 as a number. Now if we do the same thing for subtraction, so we go subtract 50. Currently it's at 240, so we subtract 50 and it'll go to 190 as it does, and then we can go down to 140, 90, 40, and then if I minus it again, it should go down to minus 10, but we know that it can't go to minus values, so logically we'd assume it goes to 0, but what it actually does is it should go to 246. Okay, and that is again because it wraps around, it goes all the way back to 255, counts 255 as the first number, and then takes away 9 extra as well. Now bytes are also used for enums, so we can see all of these enum values are bytes because bytes are more efficient of memory. They hold, because they only range from 0 to 255. If you had an enum that went over 255, then number one, that would be crazy, and number two, it wouldn't work with bytes either. If it went over 255, it would change to an int 32 internally. You wouldn't need to do anything to change it. It would all handle automatically. But anyway, now normal graphical interfaces, user interfaces, use RGB colors. So does Unreal. But Unreal normalizes these between a value of 1 rather than the normal values. Normal RGB values are between 0 and 255s and represent as a byte. Since pure red is 25500, half red is 12800, pure green is 02550, pure blue is 00255,